Hello, comadres, and welcome to the Moon Report. I am your moon goddess, Marlene, the modern mystic, and I am back with some heavy new moon energy. Happy new moon in Gemini. Thank you for watching. Thank you for always supporting. I love sharing space with you as always. And let's dive in because I feel like there's a lot to cover, and we have been feeling an intensity in the planet, a pressure in the planet that is very like complex the way it's working. So I want to have time to kind of go through it all and take my time. So we're going to dive right into this new moon in Gemini. And there is so much pressure being put on us by specifically Saturn. And we're here to talk about the moon, yes, but really what's going on around the moon cosmically is what is really defining this moment and the energy that we're feeling. We are going through right now, and we have been for a few days, we are going through the most powerful week, in my opinion, the most powerful week of the year. It's heavy because there's a moon in Gemini right now, but the activity of its ruler, Mercury, is where we're really focusing on because that is where this pressure is coming from. So are you feeling it? And when you ask yourself that question, be an observer of what's going on around you and how that's working in your body and where is that happening in your life. Now, for you astrology enthusiasts that are here monthly with me, and you have your natal charts, go ahead and see where Mercury is in your chart at 9 degrees. And when I talk about this for you, maybe beginners that are here in astrology, your natal chart is basically a map of what was going on in the solar system when you were born, at the time you were born, in the location that you were born, and the day that you were born. And this gives us a map of kind of, our personality and kind of the way that we act in certain situations, but also it could predict so much more about where we are going in life and like, where is this incarnation? Where is this life taking us? And how is that going to be manifested and expressed? And right now, Mercury, which is again the ruler of Gemini, where the moon is right now, it's in retrograde, and it has been, and it's going to be until June 3rd, where it's going to start going direct. Now, the ruler of Gemini, Mercury, is conjuncting with okay, because this is kind of complex. Okay, so Mercury is conjuncting the North Node, which is in Taurus right now, and it's in a hard square with Saturn. Now, what this means is that this retrograde is not your average retrograde. It is so much more intense because of that placement of Saturn. Now, Saturn is the father of time, and it's that planet of constriction and restriction, that planet that tightens up your life to really show you the lessons about self-mastery here in the 3D. And if you can be aware of what it's trying to teach you, it really gives you a lot of reward, but man, does it make you suffer. And with this retrograde in this tight square, and it has been in a tight square to Saturn the whole time that it's been in retrograde, it's really showing us serious business. Like a lot of scorpionic stuff has been coming out, and it is not for the faint of heart. It is adult choices that you have to make. You got to grow up. You got to face your shit. A lot of people are going through finance problems right now. A lot of people are looking at things like death and loss. And we are being, globally, we are restricted from our resources. And personally, this is happening to you in your life. Now, it all depends where this moon is happening in your chart, but we are having to learn through the aggressive standstill right now of Saturn. So what I mean by that is when a planet stands still, almost like it appears to not be moving at all. Saturn is in retrograde right now and it's getting ready to go forward. So right before a planet gets ready to go forward, it stands still almost, and that puts the pressure on and it gets really aggressive. And I was listening to an astrologer talk about this, and she's like, I just make Saturn lists. Like, okay, this is the time for me to take care of the taxes, call the IRS for something that they screwed up in, things that I have to make lines for, things that I have to fill out paperwork. I mean, this is the energy of Saturn that will take so long, bureaucracy, government center where you're waiting all freaking day to do one thing. And it's in that patience and in that resilience that Saturn gives you strength to do these things. And I thought that was a cool approach because it's kind of turning things around instead of feeling the restrictions, like being frustrated and angry about it. It's kind of a way of just leaning into them and be like, okay, this is kind of the right time for me to take care of these things, because we're being asked to adapt, to master, to build, to think on our toes, and to align with our purpose so that abundance reaches us. Because it's really trying to show us that it's through self-love and the belief in your purpose that real prosperity and abundance is at. And what's happening is that it's restricting us in our finances. So if you're having financial problems right now, that's one of the biggest Saturn lessons. And look at that, because it's our biggest indication that something has to change. Now, whether that changes in the 3D or it's maybe asking us to look at things in a little bit more of a metaphysical way, there's something that you have to face there and something that you have to communicate. We are being asked to face the hard truths right now about ourselves and try to communicate, if we need to others after the retrograde, please, June 3rd. Right? Like, work on this conversation until June 3rd and then give it a little bit of time and then go for it, because shimmy your way through that, because it's delicate stuff. It is delicate stuff. And we need to be aware of what we're saying. This Mercury has been about, in a general sense, being wiser with our words to ourselves and others, and not being aggressive and violent to ourselves, but learning to adapt, learning to look at the things and being like, okay, the 3D shit is blowing up. What is going on? Like, where do I need to look? Where do I need to start creating change towards the North Node in Taurus? So I always talk about the nodes here because they're so important. Again, North Node is where we're going. South Node is where we came from. North Node is in Taurus now. South Node is in Scorpio. So these scorpionic things are coming so that we build the life that we dream of through Taurian things, stability, the finer things in life, the things that you want to give yourself. And it's really teaching us that we could have the life that we dream of. It doesn't have to come along with any kind of shame. And as long as we don't fall into the shadow aspects of Taurus, which is indulgence, self-pity, self-loathing, not having value for yourself. As long as we're not falling into those traps, why can't we go for what we want? Why can't we bring in the elements without shame and guilt? This is the life that I want. It's okay to want a good life. And we don't always have to attach suffering and death and loss to that. Like, maybe we've had a parent that was like, well, there are kids starving in Africa. And yes, there are kids starving in Africa, and it is a problem. And that's happening. However, if we don't resource ourselves with the things that bring us stability and grace and joy in our lives, then we can't help the starving kids in Africa. What are we going to do with them unless we value ourselves? Maybe you can start an organization. Maybe you can start go over there on a mission trip, because you've created the stability in your life and you've created a value system that you're strong in and that you're firm in. But we can't help unless we help ourselves. And Saturn is really showing us that positivity of this North Node in Taurus, because the moon, like I said, is conjunct the North Node and squaring of Saturn. So what that means is that the moon, Mercury and the North Node are together, squaring, making a hard angle to Saturn. So we are trying to communicate what we want, and we are having to face the hard truths and have the hard conversations to get there. It's not like this open path of everybody understanding exactly what we're saying. No, it's actually full of mishaps and full of misunderstandings. And we're having to really look at the things that we value and just be like, listen, if we're not in alignment here, and if we're having a toxic relationship over it, then we need to stop this. And whether that's a person, a place, or a thing, whether we're talking about your career, whether we're talking about a relationship, whatever is bringing that not powerful feeling where you're not feeling in your power, then it's time to really start a new cycle where we're moving towards a life that we dream of, rather than focusing on the things that drain us from it, that keep us from it, that destroy us. Where are we putting our energy? Right now, it feels like we're paying the tax man, and we're like dishing it out. It feels like that. It's very Saturnian. And, yes, we are here to evolve. We are here to bring ourselves into the highest vibration, the highest expression that we possibly can. But we still live in the 3D. We're not done yet. There's still parts of us that have not mastered that. And we cannot move into different dimensions of vibrations until we self-master where we're at. So look around you in this dimension. What needs to change? What needs your focus? What needs to be cleaned up? Where do you need to stand in line? Where do you need to go get the paperwork because the paperwork and the this and you've been putting it off? Go to the stack of mail, open it up, deal with it. Tell your best friend she's been hurting your feelings. After the retrograde, though, saying that again. No, after the retro. It's so funny because, comadres, I don't know if you know, but you could be here live, with me as I'm recording this, and I see some of the comadres just shaking their heads and laughing. And, it's really great to be in this community and having that kind of feedback that's coming back. You're invited to join us through Mighty Networks. You'll always find a link. And, join us in this vibration to talk about how these things are manifesting in your life. Because when things are going down like this and the cosmos are having a complete shit show, we can lean on each other. I called two comadres today and I said, I'm feeling like shit physically. I'm low. I'm feeling defeated. I'm feeling like something has to change. I'm feeling like I'm losing my faith. And I know all these things are just in the moment. I know I'm not losing my faith, but it really felt good to have another person to just say that to without judgment or without, oh, wow, and trying to preach me out of something. And that's the kind of support that you receive in a community like this, where we can lean into each other in times of darkness, you know, because we're probably 100%, in my opinion, but we're probably all having some form of this same experience. So not only do I invite you to join us on the Moon Report, but if you're catching this on YouTube and you're like, what is she talking about, comadres? What is this all about? I'm sure you're going to find a link somewhere in this channel. Press it, go to it if you need community like this, because it's important. And some of the good things that happen is that, you know, once we get through this, which we're going to start feeling a little bit of alleviation after, you know, this new moon happened yesterday in the morning at 7:30 in the morning. So we're going to start feeling the pressure coming off until June 3rd, you know, and it's not going to be so tight, but you know, there are other things that are happening in the cosmos that are really giving us that push as well. So I want to talk a little bit about Jupiter and Mars and Aries right now, which is bringing a lot of fire into our, you know, environment. And what that means is that it's giving us a little bit of push, a little bit of drive in the sign of Aries, which is individualism. So put a lot of energy into yourself. Here's where the magic is at right now. If you can self-care yourself if you can self-care to a place of vitality, then it'll give you that push and that drive to do these Saturnian things, you know, these things that are just not fun and they're tedious. So, you know, find that fire within in any way that you can, maybe doing a little bit of more exercise, maybe pushing yourself a little bit more to, you know, face the things you don't want to look at. I'm telling you, that fire will be there if you seek it. Also, Venus went into Taurus, which is her home planet, her home base. And there's a lot of healing with this placement. You know, Venus being back home and feeling good and being in like her space is just bringing us kind of this love and beauty vibration that is available to us if we want to tap into it, if we want to really believe that there's still beauty around us. And, you know, there is, you know, you find it in a conversation, you find it looking at a tree, you find it in a moment of realization, but there's always some kind of evidence that it's always worth it to keep going and move forward and be in reflection of the things that happen to you rather than in their mercy. You know, these experiences are going to continue to come in our lives, and it's about self-mastering this space. It's about, yes, being in our feelings when we need to be, and then learning how to let go and move forward with that new power. Every time we go through some lesson, every time we go through these Saturn things that we're talking about, it's only to move us forward in our evolution, to give us strength. So that's what I wish for you in this new moon. Strength, resilience, it's there. You know, that fire, that's what I want to send to you on this new moon. And I hope that you use it to just create the life of your dreams, like joy all around in every aspect. So thank you for joining me. Love you. Big, big hug. Enjoy your life. And I'll see you in the new moon. Thank you, comadre.